Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie, and I'm back from Comic-Con. That's right, I barely survived with my life, but I stood in line all day and got to see the very first episode from Legend of Korra Book 2 Spirits, and it was totally worth it. That's right, if you've ever been to Comic-Con, then you understand why it's so worth waiting in line for some of those really awesome panels, and what happened in the Korra panel was just as awesome as anything that happened in Hall H on Saturday. That includes the Marvel panel, X-Men Days of Future Past, and the Superman Batman announcement. That's right, that's how awesome that first episode of Korra was. Since most of you didn't get to go to Comic Con, I thought I'd do a review of that first episode. But since a lot of you don't want to know what happens explicitly, and some of you do want to know, I'm going to do a non spoilery version and a spoilery version. So both videos will talk about totally different things, so I advise that you watch both of them. Be sure to subscribe to get them both. This one is going to be the non spoilery version. I'm also doing a bunch of other videos about the other things I did at Comic-Con. Just because there was so many things, I have to break it into a couple different videos. So I'm going to be doing a ton of stuff this week just to wrap up all the things I did at Comic-Con. So let's get started. So Book 2 picks up 6 months after the events of Book 1, and we get to see some of the new things that the core characters like Korra, Mako, and Bolin are doing now. If you've seen the trailer, then you know that they do travel quite a bit, but we don't see a lot of that in the first episode. As previously announced, Book 2 will actually cover 2 separate parts. Part of it will take place in Republic City, and part of it will take place with them traveling all over the world. So obviously, we're in the first part of that, so we're going to be mostly between the Water Tribe and Republic City. A lot of you have asked if the animation style is going to change. It isn't really changing for most things. There are some things that are a little bit unique that I'll talk about later in the spoilery version that have mostly to do with the previous avatars. Remember, we're going to learn all about the history of the avatar lineage in this book, so it's going to be really, really exciting to see this new animation style, although technically it's old. But you can find out about that in the other video that I'll be posting. If you've seen the teaser clips, then you know obviously Korra is going to be fighting some dark spirits, or I should say rebel spirits. Remember that term rebel is really important to Book 2 because that's the title of the first episode, and it kind of gives you an idea for what's really going on. So these spirits are actually kind of set up as the antagonist of the series as far as we know. We don't know if there's going to be another big Amon villain yet, or if it's going to be something different, but we do know that Korra has to fight these spirits. One of the things I really like about Legend of Korra is that even though it's a cartoon and it feels really simple, the stories are actually really deep. So a big part of Book 2 is going to be Korra finding balance in herself. And if you remember in Book 1, Korra is very excellent with her physical abilities, but she's still very insecure, very stubborn. So a big part of Book 2 is probably going to be learning to balance those things. Think of it like learning to achieve an even deeper avatar state, or just becoming more zen. Let me know if you think, is it even possible to achieve different levels of being an avatar, or is it just like flipping a light switch on and off? Are you the avatar and then aren't you? Do you go into the avatar state and then just turn it off? Or is it a little bit more complicated than that? Right below in the comments. Personally, I think that we're going to find out a lot about that in the first half of this season. We'll actually get to meet the very first avatar. He's played by Steven Yeun. His name is Juan. If you remember Steven Yeun, he actually played Glenn on The Walking Dead. So I'm really excited to see some of the stories they're going to use that character to tell in Korra this season. As you can see here, they actually use this really unique animation style that kind of shows off the historical context in the show. So Juan is obviously very ancient. He's the very first avatar. So they're using this traditional animation style to kind of denote that in a very graphical sense. So it's really, really cool. I was actually able to record the entire Korra Comic Con panel. It was really awesome. The cast talked a lot about the soundtrack they just released. I'll have a link to that on Spotify so you can listen to it for free. And if you don't care about spoilers and you just want to know what happened in that first episode, it was amazing. You can click here to watch my spoilery version of this review, or you can click here to watch the entire Korra Comic Con panel. It was really awesome. Thanks for watching. High fives.